All right, we're talking with Josh Hone. He is the son of U.S. Republican U.S. Senate candidate Heather Wilson, and we're coming in 3, 2, and 1.
It's great to be here, Mike. I really appreciate you guys having me on. But I'm here in southeast New Mexico, campaigning on behalf of my mom. Many people know former Congresswoman Heather Wilson as Heather Wilson, Congresswoman Wilson, and I call her many things along the lines of tutor and chauffeur, occasionally ATM, but mostly I call her Mom. And I'm really excited to be out here on the campaign trail talking to people with a pretty unique perspective. Many people can hear about her policy or read things on her website and see a lot of 30-second ads, but most people don't get who she is as a person and as a mother from a 30-second ad.
All right, there is one thing that I would like to ask about before we get into the heart and matter here. Your family or your mom had a tradition of when she was running to be gathered around a podium at campaign headquarters, the hotel, or wherever, and she actually had a tradition of drinking orange juice with you, your dad, and I believe I don't know if your sister was old enough to be part of that or not.
Later on, she was.
Okay.
My sister's only 3 years younger than I am.
Okay.
Well, let me explain the tradition a bit. I mean, when candidates give their victory speeches on election night, generally they toast their victory. Now, in CD1, the congressional district is generally so close that they normally do recounts or counting ballots late into the night, to the extent that we don't give a victory speech until the following morning. And so that's where the joke comes from, that instead of toasting champagne at 8:30 in the morning when we give a victory speech, we do it with orange juice.
What has made you want to take up the mantra, if you will, for wanting to, campaign for your mom and everything else?
Well, all things considered, Mike, if my mom was not my mom, I would not be on the air talking to you. But if my mom was not my mom, I can tell you I would be out volunteering for her campaign. The Heather Wilson for Senate campaign means so much to people in my generation and for the country that I believe that it is incredibly important, and that now, being the fact that my mom is my mom, I have the unique opportunity to help explain who she is as a person and who she is as a mother, and really help be a surrogate for her campaign and get the word out in ways that other people can't.
You mentioned your generation. I got 2 nieces. One's 23, the other's going to be 18 in January. What are some of the things that you're seeing right now that just scares the heck out of you?
I mean, I'm headed off to college, and a lot of my friends that are graduating college, over 50% of college graduates cannot find a job in the field of their expertise that they were educated for. Over 20% of college graduates are moving back in with their parents because they cannot find work enough to support themselves. That's not a country I want to be growing up in. I think that the message of jobs and the economy and economic growth here in New Mexico and across the country is one that really does resound with people in my age group. And that's a message that I'm here to deliver.
I'm sure you've seen the TV ads and everything else.
Yes.
Obviously the people that are watching those ads are seeing one side of Heather Wilson. You've seen another. Talk about the side of Heather Wilson that people don't see.
All right. Well, I mean, I have grown up with advertising. Over the course of her political career, over $30 million has been spent in negative advertising over the course of all of her congressional races and her senatorial races. And so I've grown up with it, I'm used to it, so it doesn't really bother me. But what I do believe about negative advertising is that there are clean shots and there are not clean shots. And I think that if you look at our ads that are on the air, all of them will cite specific votes that Martin Heinrich has taken, voting to raise taxes over 22 times in the 3.5 years he's in Congress, and things along of that ilk, I guess. But I think that many of the ads this cycle, run by both Martin Heinrich and his environmental allies, have been both not clean shots and not entirely accurate. Not accurate at all, frankly. And so that does bother me.
Well, Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time for coming down here and talking to us.